10 years ago, the automotive world was generally split into three different categories. There were automakers who dismissed any type of non-combustion engine vehicle, sometimes even criticising hybrid drivetrains in the process. Then there were the automakers who felt that the future relied on the development of the hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle drivetrain. And then, well, there were those who seemed to be more interested in battery electric vehicles. For the most part, those who were in the first two groups were extremely dismissive of electric vehicles. These included automakers like Toyota, Honda, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler. And to be honest, the majority of the auto industry, while they may have produced electric vehicles, they were electric vehicles for sale in a small number of markets, and those resulting electric vehicles were produced and sold begrudgingly. These electric vehicles were difficult to get hold of if you lived outside of electric vehicle-friendly places like California in the USA. These so-called compliance cars were sometimes even only available on limited lease programs. You couldn't actually buy them. And the companies who made them generally poo-pooed the idea that battery electric vehicles would ever be the mainstay of their business model. But as battery electric vehicle technology has improved, demands on automakers to produce more fuel-efficient, less polluting vehicles has increased, and competition from Tesla has stolen many a buyer from legacy automakers, some of these automakers are finally, mercifully, changing their mind. We've already seen Volkswagen dramatically change course from nothing but internal combustion engine vehicles to a future that it promises will be mainly electric. Most other automakers, including GM, Nissan, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia and Fiat Chrysler, say that they too are looking to a more electrified future for their vehicles. Yes, they are currently siding with the Trump administration in the US to strip California of its ability to set its own clear air standards and push back US fuel economy targets well below what the previous administration had planned. And yes, that's left a nasty taste in the mouth of many an electric car supporter, especially as those companies are apparently doing one thing and saying something else. Yet, four automakers who had once poo-pooed electric cars, Volkswagen, Ford, BMW and Honda, are standing up to the US federal government, and they're backing California's plans to set tighter fuel economy targets and mandate automakers have to build electric vehicles in order to sell in the state. BMW and Volkswagen have already promised some significant changes to their vehicle lineup, and at next week's LA Auto Show, Ford will showcase a new vehicle that it hopes will be a pivotal vehicle away from its internal combustion engine vehicle past and towards fully electric ones. Honda, meanwhile, to date at least, has focused rather heavily on hybrid and hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle technology, with its engineers and executives playing down any part that battery electric vehicles might have. But over the weekend, we learned that Honda, like Ford, is admitting very clearly that it was wrong. Its future, for now, at least, lies with electric. Talking to the Sunday Times driving magazine, Honda's senior vice president for Europe, Tom Gardner, said that Honda was now serious about plug-in electric vehicles rather than just hydrogen electric vehicles. What's more, while Honda spent years working on hydrogen fuel cell technology, it's finally admitting that hydrogen won't be the path it follows in most of the world. Why? Well, I'm about to explain. In Europe especially, Honda has realised that the regulatory pressure to meet lower emissions and higher fuel economy targets means it needs to produce vehicles that are either low or zero tailpipe emissions. Right now, plug-in and hybrid vehicles, which are lumped together with the term electrified, are the only way that that is all possible, alongside battery electric, of course. And so it's focusing on doing just that, with an ambitious goal of making every car it sells in Europe by 2022 electrified in some form or another. I'm not going to lie here. The majority of this will result in hybridized vehicles and plug-in hybrid variants coming into the mix. But as we've seen in recent years in Europe, Asia and North America especially, hybrid vehicle sales are plummeting off a cliff, as those who would have at one point picked a hybrid are opting for a plug-in hybrid or an electric instead. Of course, this could be down to incentives offered on such vehicles, because there are really no incentives anymore for buying a hybrid, or it could be down to the increased benefits of having a plug and the higher fuel economy that results. But as a consequence, I can't personally see Honda get by with just using non-plug-in hybrids, which leads me to believe that Honda will bring plug-in hybrids to market as its mainstay with a couple of electric-only models in Europe. That will translate to the Honda E, which we know is coming to market next year, as well as a second, yet unannounced, electric model. So what about hydrogen? Well, I'm glad you asked, as rollouts of hydrogen vehicle infrastructure to date have illustrated time and time again, it's proving a lot harder for companies to roll out fueling stations than they originally thought. Add in the costs associated with making hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. They're a lot less than they once were, but still far more expensive than battery electric vehicles, thanks to the costly, precious metals used as catalysts in the fuel cells, and the cost benefit of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles just isn't there. If we add in the fact that battery electric vehicles have dropped in terms of cost to make, and it's really not surprising that Honda has come to the surprising conclusion that it has. Yes, I was being sarcastic. Will this mean Honda's going all electric forever? Well, maybe not. Honda isn't completely discounting hydrogen yet, but admits that it's a fuel of the future. In the future, not today. And to meet those targets, it has to make electric or lose out. While Honda may be making the switch out of necessity, it is standing with Ford, Volkswagen and BMW in supporting California's zero-emission vehicle mandates, and it now suggests that it's on the electric vehicle train for good. Let's hope it really is. And as for those complaining that Honda didn't always support plug-in vehicles, no, it didn't. It did anything but. But times are changing, and companies that don't change, well, we all know how that ends. Right, Kodak? That's it. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to help us make more videos like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. Send us a couple of dollars our way every month through Patreon, feed our coffee habit, or support our LA Auto Show coverage with Ko-fi, or buy some swag like this t-shirt from our swag store. I'll be back soon with more content for you all to enjoy, but until then, keep evolving.